Hey, um, yeah, I just have a question for you. I want to know if you're kind, and I want to know if that kindness is actually out of kindness or control. Okay, I know that it may click, may make a lot of sense, but if it doesn't, then I kind of want to prod there a little bit more. Something I've been thinking about is how often our acts of kindness and our acts of grace and our acts of being the better person actually, they're not for the other person. They're not for the betterment of the situation necessarily, unless your concept of the betterment of the situation is for the situation to turn out exactly how you want it to turn out, you know? So I'm going to go here into a little bit of... So I was raised in the Northeast, moved to the South, the north of the South, Kentucky, right? And spent more time back up in New York and came back to Kentucky. Something I've absolutely noticed is there's such a difference in the way people go about their rapport, right? And I've always kind of compared New York as like black coffee. People are very straight to the point, no bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit, right? There's a lot of bullshit everywhere. But in terms of communication styles, New York is a bit more direct and to the point. Or if they don't want to talk to you, they don't talk to you, right? Like people don't, it's not always friendly. Now, where the South, there's this really beautiful, kind of welcoming, loving, like softness that's like sweet tea. So you have, I'm going to go back to that, right? Because this is what I'm talking about. Is that kindness, or is it control? Okay? So you've got the coffee and you've got the sweet tea, which is sort of like you've got this tea, it's kind of bitter, so you throw a bunch of sugar in it and you're like, now I like it. That works for me. And what I'm getting at is that kindness that can be present in people who really just like want to be the better person, that want to be gracious and want to be good, you know, sometimes is actually fueled out of total fucking control, like a need for control of a situation. Because if you're nice, you'll get what you want. Or if you're nice, you'll look nice. Or if you're nice, nobody will actually know what's actually going on with the scenario, because you'll like secretly be on top. Does that make sense? And I feel like that's not always the situation. Some people are just absolutely nice, no matter where you're from, right? And even the people who are nice and doing it in a controlling way, they're still trying to do it from a pure place, right? So I want to go deeper into that. And let's say there is a situation where somebody's just taught to be nice all the time. Like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I just want to say, fuck that. That's maybe, like, my least favorite thing. Because it's like, how does anything evolve if you don't actually see the shit in it a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, if everything's just nice all the time, and, like, you don't say anything, you don't speak up when shit's fucked up, like, the world becomes a shithole. And everybody's smiling and eating it. Like, that's not cool. Right? So anyway, it's like really looking at your intention. It's like, so, you know, I just made a video about dropping into your body and embodiment. Sometimes I think we are so like on autopilot on how we make decisions and how we go about our decisions and what we say and what we don't say. And we just kind of like avoid that which is unpleasant because it makes us feel uncomfortable, right? But what if we dig into that physical discomfort and we pull it out and we look at it and we're like, what's this? Oh, that's not so bad. And then you just kind of like process it, and then you just like let it go to the compost, and you grow. And you grow more, quite possibly, like a plant does when it's given compost or the proper soil, right? Every plant has a different pH. I'm not going to get like super technical here. But it's like if you take a plant and you put it in its like ideal growing environment where there's sunlight, if it needs it, if there's moisture, if it needs it, or if it needs, you know, sandy soil, if it's a desert plant, whatever. You get my drift? We're all different. So for us to pretend that we all do well in this like loamy, fluffy soil is total bullshit. So my point is like, don't conform. Don't feel like you have to be nice all the time. Like, you don't really need to be nice all the time, because like, if, yeah, you can be, but like, are you really gonna get what you want in life? You can be yourself and still be kind, but tell hard truths. You can, and if you know who, yeah, you got that, if you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, on the side, you can be kind and nice, and say things that you never thought you could say out loud, right? And think about the growth that that can inspire for the person in front of you. Because the more you kind of like bring out that authenticity of what you really mean to say, versus kind of like dancing on like ice made out of like sweet tea, you give that other person permission to do that, right? And I just want to say, that is not like this whole sweet tea, like New York, blah, blah, blah. It's not to say one is better than the other, right? Clearly I prefer direct communication, but I think that's just the soil I was brought up in, this like maybe acidic kind of like sharp soil. But that exists everywhere, right? The sweet tea shit exists everywhere. And I only bring it up in relationship to the South because it really is kind of prevalent in the South. And when you think about the reality of like the nation and the way things are more conservative in certain areas and less conservative, is like, I have to wonder how much of that is our everyday communication of our word and our spoken word, because there's so much in our spoken word beyond controlling the situation, right? And really, like, should it be about controlling the situation? Because by controlling the situation, you're actually sort of being manipulative, and you're trying to form things to you instead of like honestly like dancing with it, right? Because communication's two ways, and it would be like dancing with somebody, but like being in total control of the and then like doing things like choosing when you get to spin the person so they feel good, and then choosing when you get to like hold them in place. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I wanted to like bring that up and see what it brought up in you, and it may not feel good. I know. Like, what I just brought up might feel icky, and I know I'm saying this because I've had to do it myself. You know, I realized that there are times in my life where I tried to be everyone, you know, everything for everybody, right? Because I felt like that's what I should do. And then I was like, I'm kind of fucking miserable doing that. Like, that sucks. Like, you kind of get run over, and then you feel resentful because you're like, oh, I thought I was doing the right thing. And then you're like, but the right thing didn't actually feel good. What does right mean? What does right mean? Does it mean right? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, over the past maybe like 10 years, more intensely, like the past 5 years, way more intensely the past 2-3 years, doing this work where I'm like stepping in and going, okay, what feels right? What just happened there in this dialogue? Is it okay for me to like be myself in the situation? And it's kind of scary. Like, you have to try it out, and you say what you don't want to say, right? But that person gets to choose how they respond. And if they choose to respond in a way that's negative, which truly is not going to always be the case, that's their choice, right? Going back to Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, right? I hope I said his name in the right order. But anyway, yeah, you know, so if you haven't read that book, you know, be impeccable with your word, and is one of the things he speaks of. And then he also speaks of don't take things personally, which, you know, this is kind of flipping around, don't take things personally, sort of. It's like flipping it around, turning it inside out, and making you look at yourself and the other person a little bit. Yeah, so that's that. Be gentle with yourself. My Sagittarian ascendant is just like, bah, bah, like, what about this? What about that? But like, really be soft with yourself, because you can't do this kind of work without being soft about yourself. So I get super excited and fiery about this, but you have to start with self-compassion doing this, and it can be a little bit painful to look at. but then you can kind of like really get into it and feel really good about yourself and more in yourself and more like yourself. And you already, I'm sure, are doing this too, right? So if you are already doing this and happen to get through this whole video, I want to know what you do. You know, what are your exercises and observations, and if you maybe would be somebody who was kindness secretly sort of out of control, what are 3 things you can do? You know, what are 3 choices you can make? What are 3 ways to interact with people that are like super authentic to who you are and what you really want, and allowing that person to choose how they respond to you versus giving them what you think they want so you can control how they respond to you. Yeah? Okay, well, I hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I'd love to hear your comments below if you have any.